Bob are both not going to be with us tonight. Maybe virtual, but I haven't seen him yet, so we'll get started. Call the meeting of the Water and Sewer Authority of Cabarrus County to order. We'll start with oaths of office and some election of officers. So Tammy, you want to start with the oath? Mr. Sales?
Okay. Tiff?
Yep, we do it together.
Oh, so we have two. Both of them. Okay, got it.
Okay, if you'll place your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand.
One or the other.
And chew gum at the same time.
I state your name.
Jeff Corley.
Okay, good. Jim Sales.
Okay, do solemnly affirm
Do
Solemnly affirm
that I will support and maintain
that I will support and maintain
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of my office as Director
of my office as the Director
of the Water and Sewer Authority of Cabarrus County.
of the Water
and Sewer Authority of Cabarrus County.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we reconfirm the existing chairman, vice chairman, and secretary, Mr. Legg, Mr. Court, and Ms. Carriffo as chairman, vice chairman, and secretary. Second the motion. I did.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion on those three? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Treasurer, current treasurer is Shelley Ferris, a WSACC employee. Wendy Hegler is the new finance director for WSACC. So it seems appropriate that finance director is our treasurer. I would entertain that as a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second on the floor. Is any discussion to that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, let's roll on to unfinished business. We have minutes from May 19th, 2022. So here motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, we'll roll into new business. Michael, you gonna do that remotely for us? Merit increase scale?
Hopefully you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Historically, we followed the jurisdictions as closely as we could on doing our merit increases. I know you're aware we had a pay scale adjustment back in June based on the pay study that we had done. At that time, we didn't recommend anything for merit. We were waiting to see what the jurisdictions were doing. They're not all the same, but we're pretty close to being in the market, and we'd like to stay with the 0 to 5% merit that we've had in the last few years. Most people end up with a scale adjustment and the merit increase probably fall in the 4 to 6, 7% when they combine the two for the year. So again, that falls pretty close to what the inflation rate has been for the past year. So again, we'd recommend the 0 to 5 based on performance ratings from the supervisors.
All right, any questions for Michael? Is there a motion to approve the requested merit increase scale?
So moved.
Motion, is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
A motion, a second. Any discussion to that topic? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right. Michael, we got several policies required by federal state recovery funds.
Our attorneys have looked over the requirements, particularly for the coronavirus local recovery fund that the governor or that the senator appropriated for us. And they specifically require these policies to be in place. So Amy has reviewed those. I think there's some last minute adjustments on those that have been sent out today to those policies, but we recommend that the board adopt these policies that we have on hand so we can proceed with our application for the drawdown of the 35 million that was appropriated for the Lower Cottle Creek Interceptor project.
All right, so we have five policies: non-discrimination, eligible use, property management, program income, and allowable costs and cost principles. 5 policies. Is there a motion to approve?
I have a
those
question
policies?
first, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Michael, did you say that you anticipate changes in each of these policies, that you just haven't received those changes yet from Amy?
Yeah, I can clarify that. There were just 2 typos that we noticed in our review, literally missing parentheses, I think. So, and we gave those to Tammy. So the versions that Mike will sign are correct, but no substantive changes, literally 2 nit changes.
Mr. Chairman, I move we adopt these policies.
All right, motion on the floor.
Second.
Second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, Chad. Talk about pre-construction services amount of $7.8 million.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I believe it was last month we were here and the question was raised about when we would begin the design for phase 4 for moving on to the ultimate 34 MGD expansion. That is what this pre-construction services amount is that I brought to you here. As the board is aware, we've approved GMPs 1, 2, and 3, which will provide the funding for the completion of the expansion to 30. This pre-construction amount here will take us through final drawings, full design, permitting, everything else for the expansion to 34. This does not mean that we will complete this pre-construction services amount and exhaust this before we will probably be back to the board for GMP 4, which would be probably an early procurement package of some equipment, potentially some excavation or different things that could be needed before a final GMP. I would imagine that it to take a very similar path as the first round did, to where we'll probably end up with somewhere between 2 to 4 GMPs to ultimately execute the expansion to 34. It's going to be very critical. We keep seeing constant challenges with sourcing materials here on the phase 3 expansion. We continue, the team does work to turn over every stone to try to make sure we're anticipating and finding every problem that we can and mitigating those concerns. But I think it's just proven that the fact that the quicker we can get the design to a point that we can source some of these materials for phase 4, the just better off we're going to be ultimately meeting our schedule down the road. So Brown and Caldwell, Crowder, the team has proven in the first pre-construction services amount, if I remember correct, was around $4.5 million, around $4.5 million, if I remember correctly. In that amount, Brown and Caldwell ended up with a significant amount of money that was not utilized for pre-construction services that was then rolled into later services that that decreased the later GMP sum. The team has proven that they work on a time and material basis, but very efficiently. So the 7.8 million is a maximum amount, but I would imagine that there's a good chance that that total amount wouldn't be needed, but obviously it could be. There's a lot that goes into designing this phase 4 expansion, because you're touching just about all the existing structures at Rocky River. And it's a lot easier to design a new structure than it is to go in and upfit existing structures. So it's going to be a pretty involved design for the expansion to 34 for the phase 4. So with that, George with Brown and Caldwell is here, also Brock with Crowder. Welcome any questions for myself or for them that you may have on the pre-construction services for phase 4.
Yeah, do you have any sense of what next GMP might look like before we, go to full on financing on the thing? I mean, what kind of cash flow in this next phase, or do we just not know that until we get into the design?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that we really know now.
It would be difficult to quantify. I would tell you probably a scope would probably be centrifuge equipment, electrical gear, maybe cake pumps, things of that. But I'd be difficult. The other blowers, you have the additional blowers, but to put a dollar amount to it would be difficult.
I mean, I think we could easily say it could be in the $5 to $10 million range. I mean, possibly 15, but somewhere in that range, I would imagine. But there's quite a bit of equipment involved there. Not nearly as much concrete in phase 4 as there is phase 3, except the big EQ tank is a significant tank. But a lot more equipment, a lot more upfit.
Okay, any more questions?
Mr. Chairman, I just mentioned that with our cash amounts that we have on hand, we could handle 15 to 20 easily, knowing that we're going to reimburse ourselves once we issue bonds. So that's one of the advantages of having good, solid amount of cash on hand to front these projects and then go back to the market when it's time.
Good. Okay. I think that's really the answer I was looking for. So yeah, that's good. We can afford to keep this thing rolling, which I knew we could. Should be good to clarify. All right. Any other questions for Chad or our teams at Crowder? All right. So we need a motion to approve the requested pre-construction services amount up to 7.8 million and change as is in the packet.
So move.
I got a motion on the floor. Second. Got a motion second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, Michael, talk us through how we pay for it.
Yes,
Sort of just-
sir. Asking you to approve the capital project ordinance for the expansion to 34 MGD for the $7,812,250. Right now, we have it broken out in the 60/40 that we originally anticipated between revenue bonds that we will issue and contributions from Charlotte Water. We will eventually work these numbers out to be negotiated like we did based on what part is expansion and what part is repair and replacement. I would think that more of this project will probably be in the replacement side. So I would expect our percentage to be higher than the 60% and Charlotte Waters to be lower than the 40%. But all those numbers have to be determined as we get the 60% design and get more of that information together. So I'm asking you to approve the capital project orders with the original amounts at 60/40.
There a motion to that effect?
So move, Mr. Chairman.
All right, motion to approve the capital project ordinance. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, let's see. All right, Chad and Thomas going to talk about flow meters.
All right, well, you just got Chad, you don't have Thomas. He is in school this week, so I will be handling this one. One thing real quick before I jump in this on the expansion, I did not do a construction update this month. Because really it's the same, you'd be seeing the same thing you've seen the last couple months of conduit going in the ground. They will start the excavation this coming month in several weeks of the aeration basin. There's a lot of dirt starting to move out there. And so we'll have a really detailed update next month with more pictures and stuff. But the heavy construction work of excavation of the processes and everything is getting underway in this next month. So going to see a lot of changes out there. All right, on the procurement of the hot flow meters, as everyone I think is aware, we have, looks like it has 31 permanently installed flow meters out within the system that are utilized to produce the bills for the jurisdictions. These meters were all replaced approximately 7-8 years ago with the wireless read meters that could be viewed through the web real time. That's the latest technology. It allows our, it actually reduced our cost for the maintenance of those because they didn't have to visit them quite as often. They could view and make sure they were getting good data remotely. With those, about 7 to 8 years is about the lifespan of those meters to when they really start giving you a lot of trouble. With the end of the budget year here, we had identified some unused funds within the budget. And got a quote to be able to replace these meters to keep them as reliable and producing good data as possible. And so what we're asking for is an amount of $191,702 to include the purchase of 18 of the oldest meters in the system. This will purchase them, get them shipped to us, and have them installed by Frazier, who is our current provider of that service, and keep us up to date and good metering system out there. Any questions on that?
Say there were 31 total,
31 total,
so I would assume we'll see another 13.
probably next year.
Yeah.
And I think 18 of them were 8 years old and some of them were 6 years old. And I can't remember, I think we did that kind of this same deal when we were updating it before. We used some money at the end of the, and we did 18 of them one time and we did like 13 the next year. So I would imagine.
Did that math in my head.
Good. I'm afraid.
Because-
Retirement hadn't slowed you.
Retirement does that to you.
Yeah.
Think clearly.
So because of the supply chain issues, what kind of delivery are they promising?
It was, I don't know that answer, but I don't remember it being long. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
All right, any questions for Chad? And we have a motion to approve the procurement of flow meters and accessories.
So moved.
A motion.
Second.
A second, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Okay. All right, we'll open up for public comments. Anybody who'd like to speak? Hearing none, we will close public comment section and need a motion to go into closed session under GS 143, 318, 11A1, A3, and A6.
Move.
A motion on the floor.
Second.
Motion to second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Trying to move things along too fast.
All right, you're good. Thank you.
All right. Okay,
Motion
back
to
in open
adjourn.
session. Motion to adjourn. Have a second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Stand adjourned.
31